been my grandma. She had us call her Anita, but so it's interchangeable from grandma and Anita. Um, and I'm normally Roxana to her.
I didn't even know your name was Roxana.
It's short for Roxana, but I'm pretty sure Anita's the only one that calls me Roxana.
I
But
love that.
beautiful name.
So yeah, this first slide is from one of my school projects about kinship care. So that's me and Anita all the way on the left from when we were really young before she had custody of me. The middle photo is when I graduated from high school. And the photo all the way on the right is my brother Max's wedding a few years ago. So that's my brother Ben, Max, and Jack. So Max is about 32. Ben's 30, Jack's turning 28 this month, and I'm 24. So yeah, I figured I can just get started and Anita will share whatever I left out. So Anita's had temporary custody of me since 2012. So I was about 10 years old. Um, from my memory, I don't really remember my dad being that much in the picture. My brothers have a little bit more of like memories of him teaching them how to ride a bike and all of those things. But because of that 9 year age gap between me and my oldest brother, those memories are kind of more blurry for me. And he was living at my paternal grandparents in Mogadore, Ohio, because we live in Mentor, Ohio. Um, so my mom would take the time to drive us every weekend to go spend the weekend with my dad and those grandparents, which was a really great experience because I also got to know my grandpa before he passed away when I was younger. Um, but my mom, I like to say that she was a great mom until she wasn't. So that happened around when I was in fourth grade. There were other things going on in the family, and my mom kind of just lost it. So she got connected to kind of a bad man. And she stopped coming home. And I should have mentioned Anita lived with us. So my dad had moved out. So it was me, my three brothers, my mom, and Anita. I like to say it's not a typical kinship situation, but what is a typical kinship caregiver relationship? Everything is different. There's no one experience. So it was me and my brothers, Anita and my mom, and Anita already kind of played a role of like my mom was a teacher and she would take care of us. But when my mom stopped coming home, Anita was given the advice to get an apartment to kind of see if my mom would step up, and she unfortunately did not. So Anita would have to take me to the apartment that she was living at because I was still sleeping with my mom at the time, probably too late, which was when because I was in fourth grade, but I couldn't sleep without her. And then ultimately later that year, Anita was granted temporary custody. This temporary custody never really changed into full custody because I think in my mom's mind, letting Anita have custody kind of felt like failing. So it was always temporary custody, which kind of impacted my applying to FAFSA experience, which is a whole other thing that I'd be willing to come back and talk about applying to FAFSA and scholarships. But that was from my experience. So if Anita, if you want to go.
Well, I never expected to be a surrogate parent to my grandchildren. And one of my main objectives was to find an apartment that was close to the school and close to her friends, so there wouldn't be a big disruption in her life. Money was a problem, but I originally thought this would be a short-term situation.
Yeah, so me and Anita moved into an apartment with my brother Ben, who was in and out of juvenile detention at the time. My brother Jack actually moved down the street from our house that we lived at together, and his best friend's family raised him from then on. And my brother Max was already 18 in college, so he was kind of just thrusted into life on his own as an adult. And that's it for this slide. That's Max and me and Anita at our first church when I was little. So the next category, based on the questions we got, was peers and well-being. So the first thing was feeling different from peers. And I think even to this day, something that sticks out to me is the parent signature on papers and forms at school. I would always be like, is it okay if my grandma signs this? And it was a difficult experience because how do you explain to kids who haven't been through it that your parents are alive, they're just not the ones taking care of you? Um, so that was the main thing. Um, and it was also different because there was four of us Beers kids, Beers is our last name, that some of them knew more than I would have liked because they knew my brothers or they knew stuff about our family. And that was sometimes difficult too. There are kids that weren't allowed to hang out with me because of my parents or because of what was going on with one of my brothers at the time, which was a really difficult situation. I would say the biggest coping skills and strategies was one, therapy. I might be biased because I'm a school-based therapist now, but I'm a big proponent of therapy. I first went to my guidance counselor at school because I remember in the third grade, I think I was telling my teacher a little bit too much about our family, and she was like, Roxy, how about you go see the guidance counselor? So I went to the guidance counselor, and then it was actually court mandated for me and my brothers and my mom to go to therapy, but somehow they got away with not going, and it kind of stuck for me. So I had one therapist for like 2 years, and then I transferred, and I still see the same therapist. So we've been together for like 10 years, definitely with less frequency now, but I can just send her an email and we'll meet. And that's been really helpful. Um, the school-based therapist in me wanted to share at least one of the coping skills that I learned, and now I teach my kids. So it's essentially you cross your legs and you cross your arms, and it's just breathing. And I call it the pretzel for my kids at school. So it's your legs crossed and your arms crossed, and it is supposed to promote bilateral stimulation. So it's getting the right and left hemispheres of your brain to communicate, which is supposed to help you calm down. That's also why they say like walking or running because you're using both sides is supposed to help calm you down. Um, Another strategy is I adopted a lot of adults in my life. I call it adopting because there's my church grandpa and I make him a card still to this day every like holiday and he gets me a card. There's people from my youth group, like there's a woman named Ashley who I bought her car off her when I was 16 and I babysit her kids today and she is looking for things for my new apartment from her mom group. So definitely going to that church with such a big youth group was really helpful because I was able to find these adults that were kind of filling that void of not having the two parents that I needed. And I'm still in contact with them today. So definitely adopting adults, going to therapy, as well as I forgot my third point, but yeah. So you can go.
Okay. Well, my friends took a back seat, and joining the church was a really good thing for both of us. I joined Families Anonymous, and that was helpful for me too. Roxana and I did a lot of volunteering at the church, volunteering outside of the church. It was a wonderful experience for both of us.
Mm-hmm. And so these photos are all the way on the left is me and a group of my church friends coming home from a youth service project. So kind of like Habitats for Humanity. So we did that all across. We did both of the Carolinas, Maine, and I think those are the three I went to. The middle photo is a, a school in Liberia that I went to. So we would fundraise for them to go to this like school that offered like housing and meals and medication. So I got to go there and actually see who I was fundraising for. And outside of that, like the one all the way on the right is at the Botanical Gardens, and me and Anita were volunteering at a group for the kids.
I love the pictures.
And I'm not preaching to join church if that's not something you're interested in. For me, church was always about a community, which is something I was desperately felt like I was lacking.
Someone
I,
was wondering if you could share more about Families Anonymous and what
um,
that is.
I mean, I could share a little bit, and then if I get anything wrong, you can tell me. Or you can go.
Well, I enjoyed going there, but it wasn't just one particular thing. There was people there with all different problems. I think it should have been more separate and more, I don't know what to say about that. But it was helpful, and I did meet a lot of people that had problems with their own children, and it was good for me.
I don't think when I was coming up that Anita had access to anything like Kinship Caregivers Connect. So, like, Family Anonymous was essentially like for the family members of those who are attending AA. So I know like she met somebody whose son was struggling at the time. So it was just another community for a community of support. The family dynamics, I feel like that's an extra difficult one when it comes to kinship care. Um, my relationship with my parents, like I said, my dad, I always had access to him. He just didn't really feel like a dad to me. Like he wasn't playing a father role in my life. Um, and my mom, like I said, she was a great mom until she wasn't. There was like when I lost my mom as a mom, and then when I was in college, both of my parents unfortunately passed away as a result of their addictions. Well, substance use disorders is the more PC way to say it. So I always had hope with my mom that she would get better because there was such good memories of her. Like she was my best friend, but I didn't really see her as much as would have sometimes I would have liked because I didn't feel safe with the people she was around. So she was always welcome at our apartment, but I didn't really want to go there that much. And Anita was really helpful in driving my dad, who didn't have his license or car anymore, as a result of not paying child support. So she would pick him up and bring him here, or he would ride his bike, or I would stop at his because he had moved to Mentor, which made it a lot easier. Um, I think the impact on my well-being was a lot of disappointment, which I feel like if anyone has any experience with somebody with a substance use disorder, there's a lot of disappointment because you want them to do what you want them to do, but they're not going to do that and they're not going to get help unless they want to get help. So learning that at such a young age was pretty difficult, especially when it was like the people who were supposed to be caring for you. So yeah, it impacted my well-being, but I will say like having those support systems that I had put in place and worked so hard to definitely helped. Um, what could have helped, what did help, I would say they say the biggest protective factor is one supportive adult in your life, and that was definitely Anita for me. She was consistently there, even the times when I didn't want her to be there, she was there. Um, and having her in my life as somebody who like stuck around until other people started to stick around was monumental. Something that maybe could have helped was I lived with my one brother, but he had his own problems he was facing, and we had a great little trio going, me and Nate and him when he was home. We were like a comedy act. I think we were very funny together, and no one would understand as an outside party how we interacted with each other. But my two other brothers, it kind of felt like I lost them for a little bit too because we weren't in constant contact like normal siblings would be. So I have a great relationship with them today, especially after the loss of both of our parents. I think as adults, we decided that and realized that we really needed each other. So we're super close and we have a group chat called Four Pack of Beers because of our last name. So I'm so happy that I have them now, but I do sometimes wonder if we had like the constant force of being together when we were younger, if things would be different.
Well,
It's your turn.
Navigating the dad's family, they supported their grandchildren. Sometimes I felt I was a little ostracized, but they were centered on trying to help their son and his addiction problems. And I always made sure that if Roxana wanted to see her parents, that I was ready there to help her see them. The death of both of the parents at nearly around the same time was a shock for all of us.
For a timeline, my mom passed away, I think in June 2021, and my dad passed away January 2022. So pretty close together. And both the result of their substance use disorders. So that was a big shock. I think it was always my dad's side of the family because Anita had moved from out of state to kind of help my mom and like live in the house with us. So all of her family was kind of in New York or in New Orleans. So it was really only my dad's family to go spend holidays with, which changed. I've been with my boyfriend for 7 years. We started dating when we were in high school, and Anita is now always welcome when we do his family events. So it's kind of shifted where since everything happened, Anita will come not only to my dad's side of the family things, but also to my boyfriend's families.
In-laws and outlaws.
Yep. Transitioning into an adulthood and the helpful supports. So I like to say I'm still transitioning into an adulthood as a 24-year-old because I started my first big girl job in August after I graduated with my master's. And even this past weekend, me and my boyfriend are moving into an apartment, and Anita was there cleaning the bathroom because who wants to do that? We got her dinner as her reward. But so she's still helping me, and I think it's more of a mutual benefit. Like I help her, she helps me now, rather than before it was more of her just helping me. Because she's so gracious. She's such a little angel. And I think choosing social work, that's something that was near and dear to my heart, and kind of making why did all of this bad stuff happen and making it into I can use this bad stuff to help kids going through similar or sometimes even worse situations made it really helpful. Also, the College of Social Work at Ohio State offers a ton of scholarships that I got. And one thing in my head was that I'm not going to let my parents take away going to college from me, or at least going away and having the full college experience. And I can proudly say that I have 0 loans, even with a master's degree, from all the scholarships I was able to get. And one of the supports was the same person who I bought my car from church. She actually would proofread all of my scholarship applications. So that's another thing. Like I said earlier, if anyone wants me to come back and talk about my own Fast Fund scholarship process for those who are caring for kids who might be going to college soon, it goes by faster than you think. I have a list of different places I worked with that I think would be really helpful. So yeah, you can go.
Well, I always encourage my grandchildren to go to school and to seek out higher education because I thought it was necessary, and to capitalize on their strengths and find a career that would help them and that they would enjoy doing.
And that photo at the very bottom with the sun shining on us, that's the night before I went to college. Me, Ben, and Anita went to get ice cream, so I thought it'd be fun to include that one. So this would be my advice to children being raised in kinship care. The photos here are the one of me, my boyfriend, and Anita during my master's graduation, and the other one is me accepting a award for my thesis on kinship care at the social work bachelor's graduation. So my advice to children being raised in kinship care is that you're not a burden. I think that's something I really had to deal with myself, was that Anita had to step in, and she didn't, like, I felt so guilty that she was struggling with money or something because my parents couldn't get together, and I felt like a burden to her. and some of the other people around me. And I worked through that a lot in therapy. And I came to realize just like your parents are obligated to help you, I don't think Anita thought there was another option. She just stepped up. So I think just pushing in the fact that you're not a burden, you are wanted by the people around you. So yeah.
Well, yes. My advice is follow what you feel is best for you and for your grandchildren. Today, there's a record number of grandchildren raising their grandmothers.
Grandchildren.
Raising their grandchildren, which is surprising. It really is surprising. If you can adopt, I think there's more services that you can access, but that's not always an advantageous thing. I don't know. Today, my grandchildren are there if I need their help. And I think it was actually a wonderful experience for both my grandchildren and myself.
I love that. Can you talk about what your guys' relationship is like and kind of if that's changed? I just love seeing your dynamic together. It's really sweet.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will understand it. I think I was messing up her hair during the church service the other day we went to, and somebody told me to stop hitting my grandma, and I was like, that's just how we are. I don't abuse her. Don't call elder abuse on me. It's more of like a loving tap. I mean, I think again, like just like how it was with me, my brother and Anita, I don't think anyone outside of it would understand. Like we're very similar in a lot of ways, and so I think even the other day I asked my boyfriend, do I sound like that when I talk after we left Anita? And he goes, yeah, sometimes. So I don't think I would be who I am today. I don't think I would have the passion for my job that I have without what we have been through together. And I don't Anita's my angel. I told my boyfriend that he can have like the second spot in my heart because Anita will always be number one.
And it was fun to be reading the same books, liking the same movies. It was like being friends almost.
For reference, I would request books at the library and she would pick it up and start reading them before I had the chance to get them myself. And then there should be one more slide. So yeah, this is me and Anita after I graduated with my master's. And then for both of my brothers, Jack and Max, they had their first dance with Anita. So I think all of us view her as our little angel and we're so happy to have her. And I think there was a question along the lines of how has kinship care shaped you to be who you are today, being in it. I think I would be a completely different person. I don't think there is a Roxy Beers without being raised by Anita. I think I'd be a completely different person. I think I have a lot of the passions I do, and I've accomplished what I have because she gave me the space to do that. Not to be cheesy, but yeah, I think she gave me the space to do a lot of the things that I wanted to accomplish. And I just wouldn't be who I was without what we went through.
And I've learned along this journey also. And it's been a pleasure.
Oh, well, thank you both so much for sharing about your story. And you said it so well, like every kinship family is so different. There's no like normal in kinship care, but I think does provide like hope, and it's inspiring to see how much you both have overcome, and especially you, Roxy, like doing so well despite going through so much. It really is amazing.